In this tutorial, we are going to take a look at dimension tools in GstarCAD. Before that, I'm going to talk about dimension styles first, which affect how your dimensions are displayed. If you click here, Dimension Style Manager box will pop up. Then you can select Dimension Styles and set Properties. This set has all of styles that have been created. On the right side of the dialog box, there are some buttons for you to set current, create, modify, override, and compare the dimension styles. For example, let's create a new dimension style. Click New button here, name it, choose an existing style as default settings, and choose to check annotative option or not. We will talk about annotative dimensions later. And then let's choose which kind of dimension objects to use for. Click Continue. Here you can set various properties for lines, symbols and arrows, text, adjust, primary units, alternate units, and tolerance. I will enable alternate units. OK. Go ahead, select this style and click Modify button. I'm going to modify lines color, arrow style, text height value, and color, and change precisions. OK. As you make changes to these properties, those changes are then saved to the style that you are working on. And as a result, any dimensions that are associated with that style will receive these property settings. In this part, let's take a look at how to create different kinds of dimensions in GstarCAD. First, let's select a dimension style in the ribbon. Click the drop-down menu of the dimension commands. Click Linear, and select 2 points to locate the dimension. You can press Enter or right-click and select the first option to repeat the command. Again, select 2 points and place the dimension. Next, click again the drop-down menu of the dimension commands. Select Align and create an aligned dimension. Then repeat the command. Next, I will change to another dimension style. And let's go ahead and execute Angle Dimension command. Select 2 lines and place the dimension. Next, execute Arc Length Dimension command. And select the arc. Place it here. Repeat the command. Next, select Radius Dimension in the drop-down menu. Let's change to User Dimension style. Select the circle and place the dimension. In the end, select the emitter dimension in the drop-down menu. Select this arc and place the dimension. Then repeat the command. In this part, I will introduce some dimension tools which can make dimensioning process faster and easier. First, let's create some continuing dimensions from an existing dimension. Select Linear Dimension command and click the Dim Continue command. Select this dimension. Here you can see that the start end of the continuing dimension depends on which side I select the existing dimension. As you're seeing, I click on the right side of this dimension. Then the right side endpoint of this dimension becomes the start point of the next continued dimension. And OK, press Enter to end the command. Next, let's pan down and create a linear dimension here. And I'm going to execute the baseline dimension command. Select the endpoint of dimensions and press Enter to end the command. You can see that the baseline dimensions are automatically staggered. Next, Let's pan up and draw a center mark. Click Center Mark command in the ribbon, choosing this circle, and the center mark is drawn. And then press Enter to repeat the command. This time let's choose this arc, and you can see the center mark is drawn here. Next, I'm going to quickly create a series dimensions from selected objects. Click the Quick Dimension command in the ribbon, and window select these objects. Press Enter. You are able to choose whatever dimension method you need with options in the command. For example, choose Continuous, and move the cursor to the right side of the objects. Find a proper position to place these dimensions. And press Enter to repeat the command. Select Objects, press Enter. This time I will choose Baseline option. Then move the cursor to the top side of the objects and place them. Repeat Quick Dimension command again and select these circles. Let's choose Diameter option this time. Then move the cursor to the left side of the objects and place them. In this part, I'm going to talk about modifying dimensions. For example, if I want to change the dimension scale of this dimension, I just need to select this dimension object and click Dimension Scale Control List and select a new one. You can notice the immediate change in the dimension. Next, I will double-click on this dimension, highlight the number and change text height and text style. Then move to the end of the line and add some text here. Okay, it's just to give an example, so I will delete this. We can also modify dimension properties with options in Property Palette. To open Property Palette, you can select this dimension and right-click, select the Properties option, or press Ctrl 1. And then you can see that you are able to modify almost all the dimension properties here. I'm going to change arrow type. For arrow 1, I will change the arrow type to closed blank. So does the arrow 2. And I will change the text position. You can see it changed immediately. Here the dimension crosses over the objects and other dimensions. So I want to use the dimension break command to break them. Select this dimension to add break and select Auto option. You can see the dimension line is broken where they intersect. The dimension break is associative, so if I click and drag on this dimension, its location will update accordingly. Let's repeat the command. This time I will select multiple options and window select these dimensions. Press Enter, and again select Auto option. You will notice every dimension and extension lines are broken where they cross other objects. Let's continue talking about dimension modification tools. To adjust a group of dimensions which share groups with each other together, just click on any one of them. Hover cursor on any of their groups and select Stretch Dimension Group option and place them. Let's pan down and zoom in. You will notice there is a dimension disassociated with the object. So let's execute dim reassociate command. Select the dimension and press Enter. You can see there is an X mark on the endpoint of the dimension. Just follow the promote to select the first and second extension line origins. Finally, I will introduce an innovative tool only supported in GstarCAD. If you don't want a gap between dimension lines and text, you can input dim to offset command. Enter, and change its value to 0. Press Enter, and then input dim region command to regenerate all dimensions. You can see the gaps between dimension lines and text disappear.